Welcome to the MVP Show. Full show notes for this episode can be found at nz365guy.com/279. Before we chat with today's guest, here's a quick message from our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by the 90-Day Mentoring Challenge. I read once that the best way to be successful is help other people become successful, which is why I provide this program for free. If you want to be mentored in the next 90-day challenge, please go to nz365guy.com/mentor. The 2021 program is kicking off real soon. Today's guest is from Houston, Texas, in the US. He works for Hitachi Solutions. He's his first year MVP. Can't be right. I'm sure I've seen your name around longer than that. He has an MBA in finance with a bachelor in electrical engineering. He's into tennis. Is a major fan of Roger Federer. You can find him on Twitter at The Power Addict, and he has his own website, thepoweraddict.com. Hadat, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mark, for having me here. I cannot tell you how excited I am.
Excellent. So what's the story with Roger Federer?
It's a weird love-hate relationship. It's one of those things where if you're obsessed with a player, you basically ride your emotions with their life. And for me, he's the GOAT.
The GOAT. What's the GOAT?
The GOAT is greatest of all time. It's a very controversial statement. I'm sure it's gonna stir some debates, but he is the GOAT for me.
Wow, awesome. And so you're in Houston, Texas. How did you end up there? Because I take it you're originally from India.
That's correct. That's a long story, Mark. It could be an own podcast just on that topic, but just to give you a quick run through of the different places I've been through in US. So I came to US in 2010, and I went to Virginia Tech. And then once I graduated from there, I moved places, literally moved cities every year. So it was Virginia, it was Arlington, Virginia, then Washington, D.C., then Maryland, Silver Spring, and then Philadelphia, then Manhattan. And then I was on a project for which I had to travel to Houston a lot. So I decided that, let's just move to Houston. It's a cool place, awesome food, and it'll help me reduce my travel as well. So we just decided to make the move, and guess what? 6 months after moving, the project ended.
Wow.
But yeah, that's how I landed up in Houston. It's one of those cool things about working from home that you can just try out whichever city you want to try. So yeah, I guess that was one of the reasons.
What attracts you most to Houston? As in, like, I've been to Houston. I feel like I lived underground for a great period of time. I was in Houston because of the heat. But what do you love about Houston?
Maintaining a good standard of living is very easy in Houston. That's one. It's not as crazy as Manhattan or California. The food options are just amazing. I mean, I'll be honest. I've had some Indian food here that's better than Indian food in India. And then the community itself, a lot of diversity. When I say awesome food, it's not just Indian food. I honestly think the diversity here is more than in a city like Manhattan as well. So,
and you work for Hitachi, and I think Hitachi must have the greatest number of MVPs of any organization in the world, I would say. How did that come about?
Yeah, I think the number is such that we have now been able to come up with a deck of cards, right? So we probably, if we get more, we need to start thinking about a different way to represent them, because a cricket team is out of the equation now. Soccer team is out of the equation. Any sport with 11 players is out of the equation now. So it's crazy and awesome at the same time, right? Because you get to interact with so many awesome people here, not just the ones who are MVPs, right? Even every other resource here at Hitachi is just brilliant to interact with.
So, interesting there, your Twitter handle, The Power Addict. What was your journey to becoming a power addict?
It's super interesting. Not just because it's my story, but I think it was something that was just destined to happen, because So a little bit of background about what I used to do at Hitachi before I, started my journey with the Power Platform. I was in their field service practice, and we had our own in-house field service solution called FSA. And I think in 2018 end, we had to make a decision as to whether we continue to use that or start using Microsoft's field service offering, because being a Microsoft partner, you don't want to be their competitor. So it was a very easy decision, and the outcome of that was we basically sunset our field service solution. And we were then told that you need to move to the CE practice, and within there you can do whatever you want. Of course, if you want to continue doing field service, that will be awesome, because you can still apply the industry experience. Um, I- I'll be honest, I didn't want to do field service. So I looked for opportunities. I looked at sales, marketing, all that good stuff. And then one of the first things that I wanted to do as part of moving to this new team was to give MB200 certification. That's how I came to know you, right? Somebody told me, if you want to study for MB200, go to this New Zealand 365guy.com. Go to his course. It's awesome. And it was, I mean, it was so awesome that when I started the first course, which was MB 200.1, I think I switched to the chapter on Power Apps, and that was the last chapter I studied for the exam, because once I got hooked to that one, I really didn't, I couldn't control myself from sticking to that chapter and not moving ahead to the other chapters, right? So I wanted to obviously go through the entire coursework so I could crack the certification. But the Power Apps chapter was so interesting that I just couldn't move past it. So that's when I just started going to the forums, answering questions, and learning as much as I could. And it was funny because I still remember it was April 27th of 2019, when I had sent an email internally within Hitachi saying, hey guys, I'm new to CE, new to Power Platform. Power Apps seems to be something that is very exciting. So if you guys have any work for me, I don't really care if it's billable or not, right? Just give me something, and I'll try my best. And that same day, I got an email from Joel Lindstrom saying, hey, I have a project. We need to create two apps. Um, I can obviously do that, but I don't have the time. Do you want to take a stab at it? I was like, yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, what worse can happen, right? I mean, I'll end up making something that's not useful. I'm sure there are ways to get out of that. So I was like, yeah, I mean, Joel, feel free to send me whatever information you can, and I'll get started. And that day just changed my life. I mean, since that day, I think the only thing I've done in and out of work is Power Apps. So I think that switch, that period of I think the it was about 6 months of uncertainty, where, think about it, right? Something that you have done for 5 years just gets taken away from you, right? And you're told, hey, you need to go find something that you can do. And obviously all of that is new, and you haven't done that in the past. I'll be honest. I mean, those 5 or 6 months were very challenging, and future seemed uncertain, which is especially true for any one of us who was in the US on an immigration visa, because at the end of the day, right, everything is tied to your job. So if you lose your job, you lose visa. If you lose your visa, you got to leave the country. So it's one of those things, right? If you are in that situation, these thoughts come into your mind, literally like multiple times in a day. And yeah, I mean, to go through that uncertainty, and then I think I was just lucky to find that sweet spot that Power Apps presents you, because I've always loved analytical stuff, and I've hated, and I know hate is a strong word, but I've always hated being part of interviews where questions are focused on things like syntax and such, right? Where my answer always used to be, right, why would you test someone on syntax? There are compilers, right, that tell you what the syntax is. Focus on the logic, focus on the analytical aspect. And I think that's what Power Apps presented me with, right? It lets you focus on logic. You don't have to mug up formulas. The studio lets you, guides you through the process. And the other thing, and I know I've switched topics like multiple times, but one of the other things, the main thing I liked about Power Apps is something that I've had long discussions with my dad. Um, my dad is a nuclear scientist. He used to work for the government of India. He's now retired, and I used to ask him that, what are the different projects that you've worked on throughout your career. And it was just one, right? Because it was a research project, and it takes years. And I was like, so let me get this straight. You worked on one project for 30 years, sitting in a room in a basement in Mumbai with no windows, and the project is still not over. Right? So my question was simple. I was like, how do you derive, or how did you derive satisfaction out of it? Because I would kill myself. Like, right? I need to see results of whatever I'm doing. Good or bad doesn't matter. I just need to see the outcome. And I mean, he didn't he didn't have an answer that was good enough for me, I guess. But he basically told me, right, that not everything is a short term thing in life. Some of the things take time, and yeah, I mean, there might be people 3 or 4 generations from now who might reap the benefits of whatever I did for 30 years. But that's the price you pay if you like doing research. And I was like, hey, dude, I can't do that. I need, and what I call instant gratification, right? If I do something, I need to see the results right away. And which was possible using traditional coding methods, right? Like, I was a Java developer back in the day. You could, compile your code, then publish it, and then deploy it, and so on and so forth, and then see the results. Whereas with Power Apps, it's just beautiful. I mean, I'm in the studio making changes, checking my changes right then and there without relying on anyone else, and getting the results right there. I mean, that's instant gratification at its purest level.
So when we're talking about Power Apps, you're talking specifically about Canvas apps or model driven or Portal, which is the area that you would say you played your strengths in now.
Canvas apps for sure. Obviously had to do a little bit with model driven apps because of the fact that, some of the projects were CE implementations. But yeah, it's Canvas apps all the way for me.
So tell me about some of the apps that you've built that kind of stand out in your mind, and what was the business challenge that you were solving with them?
I think the apps that come to my mind right now, actually three of them, right? One was the first app that I created, my first ever app, which was for tellers at a credit union, and they had CE implemented. But what was happening was that, when a customer used to walk to them, they had to navigate through different sections of the CE world to do different things, right? Like look up a customer, authenticate them, and get their account information, and so on and so forth. And what was happening was that they were spending more time on the system rather than on the human aspect of their interactions. They obviously had all the information, so that was a big step up from their old system. But then again, we wanted to keep those interactions as human as possible. So what we ended up doing was we created a Canvas app for them that was a very guided process, right? The first screen basically let them toggle between, searching by customer name, or searching by customer ID, or searching by account number, right? So starting right from the search, then, in the next screen we showed things like the date of birth and social security number and all that good stuff. that they could use to authenticate the person, and then just click on a button next that would create an authentication record as well, that would store who was the teller who authenticated the customer at which branch using which method. And then obviously presenting accounts information, whether they are joint accounts or individual accounts. So it was a very guided process, and I think that helped them stay true to the interactions rather than focusing on the system. And that app is special to me for multiple reasons, right? It was my first app. Second, it was the first, and Joel can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the first Hitachi Power Apps in production. So yeah, so that was huge, and it's still going strong. Of course, it's one of those things, right? If you look at something that you created an year or two ago, you always feel you can make changes and make it better. But yeah, I mean, I don't think other than some UI changes, there's some anything I would change with that app. So that one definitely stands out for me. And then just one more. All these apps. I don't know if you've been following Project Oakdale's journey to Dataflex to Oakdale to Dataverse for Teams. But all those sample apps, right, that Microsoft has been releasing. So we at Hitachi have been the ones creating those apps, and the inspection app was my first app in that project. Yeah, that's pretty special for me. And then one of the other apps that I worked on went into public preview, I think yesterday or on Monday. It's called the Milestones app. So that one by far is the best app I have ever created. Um, yeah, and the credit for that is definitely not to me, right? The credit for that is for the awesome designers who created those designs. I mean, when I looked at it, I initially told them that, hey guys, you use this awesome design tool and you've created this beautiful design, but let's just keep in mind, right, that creating designs using a tool, it does not mean that it's doable in Power Apps. So it looked that challenging. So bringing that design to life was definitely one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Wow, that's so cool because one of the big selling points of Canvas apps is pixel precise location. You can
Yeah.
create a UI any way you want, and you obviously brought that to life, which I just think is fantastic, and it really gives people an example too of what's possible. So congratulations, good work, good work. Tell me about becoming an MVP. How did that come about? Who nominated you? How did you get it? And has life changed for you now that you're an MVP?
Sure, yeah, that's another story. And if you ever talk to my wife, she'll tell you that I tell a lot of stories. This happened. I think it started in August of 2019. It's kind of scary. I remember the date as well. 22nd August 2019 is when I got to meet Joel for the first time in person. We traveled to Chicago for a app in a day session that we were conducting, and he started off with his introduction first, and obviously he's a multi-time MVP, so he said, hey, this is Joel Lindstrom. I'm an 11-time MVP. And then I had to introduce myself, and I was like, hey, I don't think I have anything to say other than the fact that, hey, my name is Hardit Bhatia. I just started working with the Power Platform, and that's it. So after the app in a day, I went to Joel and said, hey, Joel, do me a favor. From now on, whenever you and I do an event, do not introduce yourself before me. Makes my introduction sound not so cool. So, but yeah, I mean, that was just a joke. But that's when I started discussing with him as to what is this MVP program, and like how do you go about it? Is it a certification? And those kind of things, right? Because I was still in that certification mindset, having just given the MB200. So, and again, all of this Microsoft space was new to me. So obviously, I'm sure I asked some dumb questions back then, but he was patient enough to give me all the answers. Told me that if I'm dedicated enough, if I focus enough on my work, he'll be more than happy to nominate me. And that was the kind of push I needed. And again, This happened in August. I started with the forums in August as well. Did that for 3 months or so. Started my own blog site as well. And then in November, I think early December is when Joel nominated me. And yeah, I mean, one thing that I like to mention here is a lot of people who I spoke to, told me, rightfully so, right, that do not focus on the award, which I completely agree with. But one thing that I like to add to that is if somebody who is aspiring to become an MVP gets motivated thinking about the award, that's completely fine in my opinion, right? The motivation can be anything. The results have to be um, in line with what you like to do, right? So let me put it in other words. Don't do something just because you want to become an MVP. But if the thought of becoming an MVP motivates you to get up and do the things that you like to do, which is sharing your knowledge with the community, that in my opinion is completely fine, right? So do whatever it takes to excite you, but then do the things that do excite you.
I love it. I love it. And it's yeah, definitely Joel is an amazing individual, been in the community a very long time, and I think he's influenced the coming into the MVP program, particularly in BizApps, and for a lot of people, he's a great mentor in the industry. So that kind of runs out of time. I want to wrap up, of course, I do with some quick fire questions that are totally random. And you're my first guest that I'm recording in 2021. So I feel like I'm a bit rusty getting back into it, but it's been a good start. And are you ready for your questions?
Yes.
Okay. What have you bought that you love so much that you would buy it again?
My Roger Federer tennis racket.
Wow. That's incredible. Okay, cool. What chance encounter have you had that changed your life?
Meeting Joel Lindstrom.
Wow. Okay. Very good. If you could get away with a crime, what would the crime be?
Impersonate Roger Federer.
Would you rather end the life of one human being or 100 puppies or kittens?
One human being.
So controversial, right? Who's had the most influence on you growing up?
My parents. My dad for sure. Big time.
Nice. And finally, what was the last random thing that made you smile?
This question that you just asked.
I like it. Well, it's been great having you on the show. I look forward to getting this published and getting out there. Hopefully people found it of value. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, also known as the NZ365 Guy. Please like and subscribe in your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to leave a review of the show, go to nz365guy.com/review. It'll give you a view of the current reviews that are up there and also allow you to check which way you would like to review using the various software options that might be familiar to you. Otherwise, thanks again for joining me in 2021 and see you next time.